Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. That in this age, there is no other alternative.
So,
Keep
in imitation of the original, Shukdev Goswami continued, "My dear king, 88 years of his life passed by while Ajamil thus spent his time in abominable sinful activities to maintain his family of 10 sons and the prostitute. The youngest child was a baby named Narayan, who was naturally very dear to his father and mother." Quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 1st chapter, 23-24. Now, here, the two things that are important in this verse, which has been quoted right here in bolden letters, that is, one is that Ajamil had 10 sons and the youngest was Narayan. The youngest was also a baby. That means he was not very grown up. He was a toddler, you can say. So that is an important fact. And the second fact is that he was very dear to his father and mother. These two facts will help us understand the upcoming chapter. So these two things are very important. So 88 years of his life has gone by, but still we are seeing that Ajamil is, enjoying life, enjoying his life with prostitute, with his sons, enjoying his householder life. Now in the Vedic injunctions, it has been said that one should not, stay in grihastha life for so many years. You are allowed grihastha life for 25 years. That means from 25 to 50 years, or maybe 45 years, you may stay in grihastha life, in householder life, and then you have to retire to the forest. Or even if you don't retire to the forest, you have to break your material attachments and engage yourself in the devotional service of the Lord, in worship of the Lord. This is what has been asked to be done, prescribed to be done by the Vedas, right? But we are seeing here that Ajamil, being too much sinful, he, instead of retiring himself, instead of renouncing the world, he continued enjoying life with the prostitute and maintaining his family of 10 sons, right? So here, this is to be understood that grihasthas are not wrong. Many people have got this idea that grihasthas are wrong. Yesterday I had forgotten to quote this thing, but grihasthas are not wrong. Householders are correct. There are many devotees also who are householders. So you cannot say that they cannot realize God. Only celibates, that means only brahmacharis or only sannyasis can realize God. No, even grihasthas can realize God. If we see Srila Prabhupada himself, he was a grihastha. He was a grihastha, and later he took vanaprastha ashram, and later he took sannyas, and then so we know what happened. Rest is history. So when he was a grihastha, at that time only he took initiation from his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedānta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. So many of his god brothers, several of his god brothers used to criticize him, telling him Pocha Grihastha. They used to call him Pocha Grihastha, means rotten householder. So Prabhupada didn't used to complain. Sometimes he also used to think that he was very fallen because he was entangled in material life. He had his child, he had his wife. Sometimes he used to think that his god brothers are far much more advanced and elevated and much more nearer to God than he was, because he was engaged in material life. So, but we see that Srila Prabhupada later became such a great sannyasi that he wouldn't, that one of the disciples of Prabhupada was saying that somewhere Prabhupada was invited to a part, means not a party, means he was invited to a gathering and he was to lecture. Now, he was sitting on the Vyasasana, that is on the throne, and there was a dance performance which was done by women, of course. So there was a person who was filming the dance performance. He had a camera, so he was filming the dance performance. And later when the ye was shown, means the recorded footage was shown, the disciples of Prabhupada saw that Prabhupada didn't look even once at the girls, at the women. He was either looking up or down or maybe chanting on his beads during the whole performance. He didn't look up at the girls. So that was the amount of detachment he had. He had not a trace of lust. Lust, so I think very wrong to say such a thing. But we must understand that householders can also realize God. Even we see Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur, one of our senior, gurus in our disciplic succession. Even he was a grihastha, and from him only, he only conceived Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, right? And then we see that several of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates also, closest associates, were householders, just like Shivananda Sen, Ramananda Rai. These are very, very close associates of Mahaprabhu, but still they were grihasthas or householders. But Mahaprabhu accepted them wholeheartedly. Even Mahaprabhu, in his earlier life, he had two wives. His first wife was Lakshmi Priya Devi. Right after she had, left her body due to separation from Mahaprabhu, when Mahaprabhu had gone to Bangladesh for preaching and to get some money. Right, so that time she died by getting bitten by a snake. Now, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that was no ordinary snake. That was the black snake of separation. She just couldn't, bear any separation from Mahaprabhu. So that's why what happened was she was bitten by the so-called snake of separation, Viraha, and as a result she left her body. So later, Mahaprabhu didn't want to marry, but his affectionate mother, Shachi Devi, wanted him to marry. So that because she feared that if he doesn't marry, then he will also leave the world. It means he will also leave the world in the sense means he will renounce the world. He will leave the house. He will leave his mother. So his mother was very afraid. So later he got married to Vishnu Priya Devi, the daughter of Sanatan Mishra. Sanatan Mishra was a great Brahmin in those times, living near Navadvip. So so that's an off topic we are going. So whatever, we were trying to say that householders are not wrong, and householders can also realize God. Even some of the greatest devotees, they were householders. But what has been condemned in this book, Second Chance in Srimad Bhagavatam, is illicit connection with women. Yesterday, Jagannath Prabhu had this doubt that why only illicit connection with women. I said that in the first chapter of Second Chance, it has been written that if the woman is of a good character, right, then such a woman will never have any illicit connection with any man. But only low class women, low born women, only such people, only prostitute like women, only they will have such bad, qualities, and they will have illicit connection with men. So it's not that we should not associate with women. If we want to associate, we have to marry. Just like we had explained it earlier. So this was what we were wanting to say. But here Ajamil's householder life has been condemned. He cannot be a devotee because he was having illicit connection with the prostitute. He left. Actually, Ajamil had a wife. She was a pious Brahmin wife, but due to his lust, due to his lust impulses, he sacrificed his wife. Sacrificed his wife means renounced his wife, and later accepted the prostitute maid servant as his wife. And then we know that he begot 10 children, and the youngest among them was baby Narayan. Now, here the Namkaran is very, uh, significant. That why did he name the baby Narayan? Now, the thing is, Ajamil in his previous life, means before he had married the prostitute, we know that he was a very pious Brahmin. He had good Brahmanical qualities, right? However, he had lost them. It is not that he never had them, he had lost them. So that's why he was engaged in service of Narayan. As we mentioned it earlier, that Brahmin means one who is always situated in Brahma, or one who knows about Brahma. Brahma means not the four-headed Brahma. Brahma means another name of God. That means one who knows about God, one who knows about spiritual life. He is a Brahman. So Ajamil was devoted to Narayan. He used to serve Narayan with all his heart. However, due to his connection with women, he forgot all those things. He stopped worshipping that. But still, due to his past, so these are called samaskars. Sanskar, we say, na sanskar. So that only is told that those are called sanskars, means past impressions. Because there were some of his past impressions. That's why he named his youngest son Narayan. Now we know normally when we see a baby, when we see the baby crying or laughing or playing with toys, or trying to say broken words, or trying to wake up and walk, we are very, we get attracted. The babies attract their relatives, the neighbors, the parents, obviously the siblings. Babies are very attractive, right? So it is very natural for Ajamil and his wife to be very affectionate towards his youngest son. That is what is written in the last line, that he was the son named Narayan being the youngest, she was very much, cared for and loved by our Ajamil. So this is very natural. Prabhupada said that if it's if some mother does not love a child, then that is unnatural. That is unnatural. But Ajamil is loving his child. That is natural. So it's written in the one of the paragraphs. Just scroll down a bit. Yes, 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 yes. Like here it is written. Therefore, in human society, the affection between a mother and her child is very much eulogized. But as we see, this relationship is visible even among the animals. Therefore, it is not an outstanding qualification. It is material nature's law. Right, right. See, here he writes, unless the mother and child are affectionately connected, it is not possible for the child to grow up. So it is natural. It is natural and necessary. But now he shows it can be a possible hindrance or an obstacle in our spiritual life. He says that, but it does not raise one to the spiritual platform. Now, in the next para only, it has been said that actually all this affection that we have for babies, that is actually coming directly from the spiritual world. It is nothing material. It is already there in the spiritual world. When Krishna was a child, when Krishna would be a child, that time his father and mother, Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, they would be very much, affectionate towards Krishna. They would, cuddle Krishna and pat Krishna and love Krishna so much, right? That is all. Its origin is there in the spiritual world. Shri Krishna has declared in the Bhagavad Gita also that I am the source of everything. I just don't remember the exact verse number right now, but he has said it. Obviously, positively, he has said it that he is the source of everything, moving, non-moving, existent, non-existent, everything. He is the source. He is the source of creation. He is the source of destruction also. He is the here Prabhupada has written that he is the sole creator. He is the sole destroyer. He is the sole maintainer, right? So everything is having its origin in the spiritual world. You should have this concept very very clear. Even just like in this world, when boys they look at beautiful girls, or girls they look at beautiful boys, they get naturally attracted. This is very very natural. This is material nature's law, as Prabhupada explains. But this is having its origin in the spiritual world again. The loving affairs which are there present between Krishna and Radharani, between Krishna and the gopis, those loving affairs are, reflected in a distorted manner in this world, and as a result, here the boys and girls are attracted to each other. So this is called. I would ask Shamsundar Prabhu to write it down in the chat box. The term, it is called perverted reflection of the spiritual world. Whatever is happening in the spiritual world, its perverted reflection or its distorted reflection is coming in the material world. So this is very very relevant, very very significant. And here Prabhupada is mentioning this because why we are coming back to the topic, because Ajamil was very affectionate to his son, and it's very natural. It's material nature's law, and it's the perverted reflection of the affection that Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, they have for their baby Shri Krishna, right? So now, in the next subheading, I would request Shamsundar Prabhu to go to the next subheading. So there he has said, like he has quoted Prabhupada from the Vedanta Sutras 112, right? He has called it Janma Dasya Yataha. So that is, the everything has sprung up, or everything has originated from the absolute truth. This is the purport of the verse, or the translation of the verse of, this is the translation as well as the purport. Prabhupada later says that there is nothing to interpret this verse. This verse is very very clear in its meaning, that everything has originated from the absolute truth, and the absolute truth is Shri Krishna. That has been, explained in Bhagavad Gita very beautifully. Okay. So he has written that everything has its origin in Shri Krishna, right? Like I would like to read out from here. If the affection between a child and his parents did not exist in the absolute truth, it could not exist in the material world. If this was not there in the spiritual world, it wouldn't have been there in the material world. Like there is a verse in Mahabharat, dharme cha arthe cha kame cha mokshe cha bharatarshava yadi hasti tadanyatra yanahan yadi hasti tadanyatra, something like that. Well, I am forgetting. whatever. So it says that whatever is there written in the Mahabharata, that is there in the spiritual world, that is all that exists. Anything which is outside it cannot exist. Simply it cannot exist. So everything is there written in the Mahabharata, in Srimad Bhagavatam. Everything is written. So if one studies Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, all these scriptures which are authorized and revealed, so he or she can understand everything. There is nothing left for him or her to understand. Science, philosophy, everything is there in that. Everything. So that is being said here. So now there are some people. They are called Mayavadis. I think. Yes, you may interrupt. You may interrupt.
Yes, actually, I just wanted to state in this connection that Janmadi Asya Yataha, here, this from the Vedanta Sutra, right? The Vedanta Sutra state that everything originates from the absolute truth. And the absolute truth is Krishna. So many people have this big misconception which is detrimental to bhakti. They have this misconception that you know what can I say, that if Krishna is the absolute truth, then why is he having parents? Why in his pastimes, in his earthly pastimes, why is he having parents like Nanda Maharaj or Mother Yashoda or Vasudev or Mother Devaki? Why is he having parents? Because the absolute truth, he should be, what can I say? Aja. He cannot be born, right? He's unborn. As Krishna states in the Gita himself that I am unborn. But in his pastimes, we see him coming through Mother Devaki. But here I just want to clear this thing that where Krishna says that you know every action he takes. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that every action he takes, he does it with the help of his internal potency, which is yoga maya. Okay, so therefore that is the spiritual potency, and therefore what Krishna is doing is completely spiritual. Secondly, we can in the pastime when Krishna appears in the jail of Kamsa Maharaj, okay, where he appears in the jail through Mother Devaki, we find that as soon as Krishna appears, Vishnu or Narayan, he also appears in his full form, in his pratyaksh form, in his four-handed form, in front of Mother Devaki. So now here we can conclude that although the Lord is appearing through the womb of Mother Devaki, he is still, what can I say, he's still retaining all his godly uh, characteristics. And secondly, he is not being born; he is already born, but he is appearing through the womb of Mother Devaki. He's not being born; he's appearing through the womb of Mother Devaki. So Mother Devaki can be is a medium in this context. So Krishna is appearing through Mother Devaki. He needs a medium to appear. So he's appearing through Mother Devaki. Okay. He's not being born. So this is what I just wanted to state, because this might be a confusion that if Krishna if he is the absolute, if he is not born, if he's unborn, then how is he being born through Mother Devaki? I just wanted to clear this. Now you may continue, Prabhu.
Yes, yes, he was correct. And yes, I had forgotten this one. This was also there in the purport. And, in Nectar of Devotion, in the first part, I guess most probably it's the 15th chapter, Prabhupada has explained this, that how can Krishna be born? How can Krishna have parents? That's because that's just out of transcendental love. That's out of the sentiments that Krishna allows himself to become a baby, to appear as a baby, and to let his devotees uh, treat him as a baby, means to so that they can treat him as a baby, and he can also enjoy that mood of a parental relationship, right? Very nice. Well, so here I would want to say a very important topic, that even if you had been inattentive in the whole these minutes, but you all must be attentive in this part. Okay, so here we are coming to a concept called Mayavadis. Will later Shamsundar Prabhu will elaborate it. I will just give a very little introduction about this. Here Prabhupada has said about Vaichitra. Vaichitra means variety. He has said that there is so much variety in the material world. And all this variety is coming directly from the spiritual world, just like Janma Dasya Yataha. Whatever is existing, that is coming from the spiritual world, from the absolute truth. If it's not there in the absolute truth, it simply can't exist in the material world. This is very simple to understand. Okay, but Mayavadis are a certain class of people who, they tend to think that there cannot be any variety in the spiritual world. The spiritual world cannot exist. There cannot be something called spiritual world. There is only darkness, there is only void beyond this material world. So this is the opinion of a class of people called Mayavadis. Now sometimes people, the new people who are new to bhakti, new to philosophy, for them I am telling that Mayavadi, sometimes people say Mayavadi means that those who are trapped in Maya. That means the materialistic people. Oh no, materialistic people can be said as Jaravadi. Jar means material. So Jaravadi, the materialistic people, they are called Jaravadi. But Mayavadis are those who say that everything is Maya. But we are not going to that thing today. Now, what we are going to discuss, it will be a bit big, but we have to understand it. It's written also in Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, second verse purport. This thing has been very beautifully explained by Prabhupada, that also with a very relevant example, so that we fallen souls, we ignorant souls, we have, the pea-sized brains in our head, right? So that we people can understand all these spiritual matters easily. He has written this in a very beautiful manner. Now it will make us clear that who are Mayavadis. Now yesterday I had told one thing about Brahma. I told that Brahma is another name of God, and anyone who knows Brahma is Brahmi. So today we'll be understanding what is Brahma, right? We'll be making this very very clear, and I want you all, so that you all pay the utmost attention to this, so that everything, this thing becomes clear, crystal clear. And if you can't understand in any part, then please raise your hand or write in the chat box. And Sham Sundar Prabhu, please explain them the three features of absolute truth with reference to the sun example given by Prabhupada. That means the Brahma, Paramatma, that.
Okay, so in the Brahma Samhita, which is a series or list of prayers offered to Krishna by Lord Brahma. So in the Brahma Samhita, 5th chapter, 1st verse, Lord Brahma says, Ishwara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Here, Lord Brahma lists the three aspects of the Supreme Lord, that is Satchidananda. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that he is present in three aspects. The first is the impersonal Brahma. Okay. Now, this impersonal Brahma is the aspect of the Lord, which the Mayavadis, in which the Mayavadis wish to merge. The Mayavadis, they wish to merge with Lord, with God, with his impersonal form, because they think that God has no form, is formless. So they want to merge with God and lose their individuality, and they tend to think that they are themselves God.
No, I
So
want
now,
to interrupt once. Just first, you don't just come into this. First, you explain the thing that Brahma, Paramatma. Then you say that what the Mayavadis thing.
okay, sure. So whatever I was saying, that Brahma, not Brahma. Brahma is the impersonal aspect of the Lord. Impersonal means formless aspect. Now I will come to this point again. Just let me explain the later two aspects. So the next aspect of the Supreme Lord is Paramatma, or the super soul. Okay. So now actually the super soul is present inside of us. The Lord is present in every living entity as the super soul or the Paramatma, and the Paramatma is situated just beside the individual soul. Okay. And the Paramatma witnesses all the activities of the soul. Whatever the soul is thinking, whatever the soul is doing, whatever the person is doing, the Lord in his Paramatma aspect witnesses everything. Is present in every living entity in the form of Paramatma. And the highest aspect of the Lord is Bhagavan. Bhagavan. Bhagavan means the personal aspect, or the aspect where he has the form, he has his own form. Krishna, we worship Krishna in his threefold bending form. That is his Bhagavan aspect. That is the the supreme aspect of God. Okay, there is a supreme aspect of God. So now here, actually, we have to understand this, that the verse which I quoted just a few minutes ago, before, Ishvara Parama Krishna, there Lord Brahma states three aspects of the Lord. Satchit Ananda, Sat Chit Ananda. Here, the word Sat means truth, absolute truth. So this aspect goes with Brahma, or the impersonal aspect of the Lord. Impersonal aspect of the Lord. So the Brahma, or the impersonal form of the Lord, is actually, or the impersonal aspect of the Lord is actually Sat, means it is full of truth. It is the absolute truth. But the other the other two aspects, which is Satchit Ananda, I said, right? Chit means what? Knowledge, absolute knowledge, and Ananda means the ultimate bliss. But these two aspects are not present in the uh, uh, impersonal aspect of the Lord. So next we move on to Paramatma. So Paramatma is the Sat Chit aspect, which means it is full of truth, when it is the absolute truth, as well as it is the absolute knowledge. So one who realizes Paramatma can realize the absolute truth as well as the absolute knowledge. But Bhagavan is the Sat Chit Ananda, the full aspect. The supreme form of the Lord is Bhagavan, which is Sat Chit Ananda. That is why Lord Brahma, he proclaims Krishna as Sat Chit Ananda, because Krishna is Bhagavan. Krishna is he's appearing in his personal form, in his aspect of Bhagavan. That is why Lord Brahma here he addresses him as the Satchidananda aspect, which means that Krishna is the absolute truth. He's the absolute knowledge, and he is the ultimate bliss. Therefore, the devotees, the pure devotees of the Lord, when they worship the personal aspect of the Lord, which is Bhagavan, they realize everything. There is nothing left for them to realize anymore, because they have got the ultimate realization. They have realized which is the ultimate truth, which is the absolute truth, which is the absolute knowledge, and what is the ultimate bliss, because they have realized the Bhagavan aspect. Whereas the Mayavadis, they only they only meditate on the impersonal aspect of the Lord, which is Brahma, as I stated before. So they only try to realize that, and once they do, their realizations are incomplete, because they still don't know the Chit and Ananda aspect of the Lord. They are only realizing the impersonal aspect. Therefore, their realizations are incomplete. Whereas a yogi, he meditates on the super soul, which is situated inside every living entity. So that is the Paramatma. And once he realizes the Paramatma, his realizations are more complete than the Mayavadi, but it is still not fully complete, because he still does not know the Ananda aspect. Whereas a devotee, because he worships the the personal aspect of the Lord, where he is present in his own form, his own beautiful threefold bending form, he at once realizes everything there is in the whole creation. He knows everything. He has realized everything. These are the three aspects of God.
Now, please explain it in the reference to the sun example. Then it will be much easier.
Yes, correct. I forgot this. Actually, if you see the sun, the sun has its own, what can I say? The sun has its surface, its rays, the sun rays, and the sun god, which means Surya Dev. Okay. So now a person, suppose he's present on the earth. Okay, he knows, he's seeing that the sun rays are reaching him. Okay, the sun rays are reaching him, and he's thinking that the sun rays are the ultimate. That is only the ultimate. It does not have a source. The sun rays itself is whole in itself. It is complete in itself, right? But this is not true. This is foolishness, right? So the foolish person thinks that the sun rays are the absolute, is the supreme. The sun rays are the supreme. That is what the foolish person thinks. But on the other hand, a scientist, he knows that the sun rays are coming from the sun, which from the surface of the sun. The sun rays are emanating from the surface of the sun, isn't it? So the scientist is thinking that the surface of the sun is the ultimate. That only is the supreme. That only is the real source of the sun rays. But even the scientist, although he's more intelligent than the foolish person, he still does not have enough intelligence to understand that the sun itself is actually coming from the sun god, which is Surya Dev. He is the one who is controlling the sun, right? As we get to know from the from the Vedas, that that Surya Dev, he's he's the controller of the sun. So therefore, the person who knows that that the actual source of the sun rays is Surya Dev, he is actually the most intelligent. That means the person who is thinking that the sun rays are coming from Surya Dev, he is the most intelligent. He is more intelligent than the scientist and the foolish person. So this is the case with the Mayavadis, the yogis, and the devotees. This is the difference. The Mayavadis are the people who are thinking that the sun rays are the ultimate. The yogis are the scientists who are thinking that the surface of the sun is the ultimate, and the devotees are the most intelligent class of people who know that the whole origin of the sun rays and the surface of the sun is Surya Dev. So see, you can just draw parallels between this and God. Like I said. So Prabhu, please continue now. I hope.
I hope there is no doubt. I guess there shouldn't be any doubt. Well, if you are having any doubt, please raise your hand, or you may ask it at the end of the session as well. So I guess it's clear in a short. I am just telling in a short whatever he explained. He just compared the three aspects of the absolute truth to the three aspects of the sun. Just like the sun's rays cannot be said to be the whole, and the sun's rays, they are impersonal. They do not have a form, right? Yes or no? Obviously, no. It can be compared to the impersonal and the formless aspect of God, which is called Brahma. Okay, so that is where the Mayavadis, whom we are talking about, the class of people, they wish to merge there, right? So, and then a more intelligent person, he understands that the sun rays are not the absolute. The sun rays are coming from a source, and the source is the sun globe. It's the sun planet, right? So that sun planet, those class of people, they can be compared to understanding the Paramatma feature of the Lord. So who do that? The Dhyan Yogis. Dhyan Yogis means who meditate. They meditate on the super soul who is seated within our heart, and they think this is the ultimate destination, ultimate goal. But the most intelligent people, they know that there is even greater, and that the sun planet is also not the absolute. There is sun god behind. Similarly, amongst the spiritualists, the highest class is that of the devotees who understands that neither the impersonal aspect of God, that is Brahma, nor the Paramatma feature, the all-pervading super soul, is the absolute. It's the Bhagavan form, or the personal form of the Lord, which is present in Vrindavan as the absolute, which is who is present in his own abode. That is the absolute. So Mayavadis think that, oh, the formless aspect of God, that is the absolute. There cannot be anything beyond this. It's just foolishness. So here Prabhupada has quoted a verse. Please scroll down from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. 10th canto, 2nd chapter, 32nd verse. Yes, this one. Although impersonalists are almost liberated, still on account of their negligence of the lotus feet of Krishna, their intelligence is not yet purified. That means those who think that there's no Lord, there's no personal form of the Lord, so they are neglecting the lotus feet of the Lord, the personal form of the Lord. Such people have, impure intelligence, as Prabhupada is saying. Not only Prabhupada, it's actually the words of Shukdev Goswami, Vyasadeva, who is God himself. Thus, despite performing severe austerities to rise up to the platform of Brahma, they must fall down again in that material world. That means it is being said that they may perform a lot of austerities, but still he or she can fall down. So that means the Brahma is obviously not the highest. From Brahma also we can fall down, but once we reach the ultimate realization, the complete realization, that is Bhagavan, then we understand. Then that is complete realization. From there is no coming back. There is no fall down. So that's why Prabhupada said, "Back home, back to Godhead." So back home, back to Godhead means back to Krishna, back to the personal form. He is not talking about the so-called formless aspect of Brahma. He always has very heavily criticized and chastised and condemned the Mayavadis in all his books, in lectures, in books, in room conversations, in morning walks, everywhere he has condemned the Mayavadis. I hope this part is clear. Then we move towards the Next part. Now, Mayavadis, this is the first flaw of Mayavadi, that Mayavadis think that God is formless, right? But there is another flaw with the Mayavadis, that the Mayavadis think that God cannot have a personal form. They not only worship the Brahma, okay, you are worshipping the formless, no problem. But why do you deny the personal form? No, because they deny the personal form, they are offenders at the lotus feet of Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mayavadi hoy Krishnero apuradi. That means Mayavadis, they are simply offenders at the lotus feet of God. And such people, they are inimical. They are enemies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They can never come to the platform of devotees. Devotees are staying in the planets of where planet in the planet where God stays, right? But Mayavadis can never reach there. Mayavadis are enemies of God. They get some place in the spiritual world in the formless aspect of Brahma, but they don't get any place in the place where devotees are there, even though they are also spiritualist. But because they're offenders, but so they do not get a place with the devotees, but they get a much lower plane, that is in the Brahma. So the second flaw of Mayavadis is that they deny the personal form of the Lord. They say that there cannot be any personal form of the Lord. Now question is, why do they deny so? They think that we have bodies, our body is material, we will die after some time, the body will be left behind, the body will decay, right? It will turn into, soil at the last, right? And it's only a bag, you can say. The Upanishads call it a bag of blood and mucus and semen and whatnot, bones and veins, all these things. It's a bag full of these things. There's no consciousness in the body. The body is simply gross and material. So the Mayavadis, they say that just because our body is material, similarly God cannot have a body, because if God has a body, then that also becomes material. But this is not the correct concept. God's body is purely transcendental, as Shamsundar Prabhu had quoted the verse from Brahma Samhita. Ishvara Paramaha Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. His form is not normal like us, ordinary like us. It's Sat Chit and Anandamay. It's full of bliss, it's full of knowledge, and it's eternal. It's not like our body. Here, Prabhupada has also quoted from the Bhagavad Gita. It is being seen in the screen. 4.9, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vetti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. That means he is telling that his birth, that means his appearance, as Shamsundar Prabhu explains, that Krishna is never born. He only appears. So his appearance, his activities, his body, these are all transcendental. These should not be said to be, material. There are some people who mistake the activities of the Supreme Lord. There are some people who mistake this. So Krishna has said that no, my activities, my body, my appearance, all these things are transcendental. You are no one to put material attributes to it. Who is saying this? It is Krishna himself saying in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna has said in another place in Bhagavad Gita, yes, this one, like ninth chapter 11th verse, Krishna has said, avajananti mamura. That means I do not reveal myself to the foolish people. Whom is he calling the foolish people? He's telling those who deny my form, those who say that I have no form. Such people I do not reveal my form. Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita, this part, only rascals accept me as an ordinary being. Avajananti mamura. So they say, oh, here is a child. How can he be God? Even Brahma and Indra became bewildered. They thought, how can this boy be the Supreme Lord? Let me test him. So even Brahma and Indra, you know who is Brahma and Indra? Brahma is the secondary creator. He is the one who has created Earth. He is the one who has created the planetary systems, right? And who is Indra? Indra is the king of the demigods. We have so many demigods: Varun, Chandra, Surya, Agni, etc. So the king of all these demigods is Indra. Indra is the one who sends thunder and rain, right? So there are some pastimes which are described in Srimad Bhagavatam, right? About how Brahma got bewildered and thought Krishna as an ordinary child, how Indra got bewildered and considered Krishna as an ordinary child. But I guess if we have to describe the pastimes, it will take a lot of time. So we'll postpone it till Friday. Friday we'll we will reunite again and we will discuss this. So today we may close the session here. Thank you.